Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Daily Stack Report, and we have what we call a consolidation day. But first, if you want to win this 1996 American Silver Eagle, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell, because whenever we hit 100, we will be doing a video, and you will have to comment on that video, and then we will do a random comment picker, and that will pick the winner. So just want to make sure that's super clear to everybody. Hit the like, hit subscribe, and let's get to the meat and bones of this. Okay, so Silver had a very good day today, and why do I call it a very good day? Because we consolidated. We didn't do anything crazy. We just kind of chilled for a little bit. These past 2 days have been very violent in their moves, and so we were due for a nice consolidation day. But on top of that, it was a positive consolidation day because where we were yesterday were these three candles right here, and we kept getting rejected 3 times, but we finally broke above it. Now, of course, this is zone 3 right here. We did kind of get rejected at the top of this, but again, we did reject the bottom of it as well. So that's very positive news. Right now, it looks like we're going to be consolidating within this triangle. If this does play out, it won't be until Monday that we see something actually happen, whether it be to the downside or upside. Now, obviously, we would want it to be to the upside, but as we talked about in the last video, it'd be okay if we stayed in these zones. We're calling this zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And right now we're in zone 3 consolidating. And so this is positive news because we were in zone 1 for nearly a whole month right here, and then we broke out all the way up to zone 5. So if we can come down to zone 2 or zone 3 and consolidate a little bit, that's going to equal a higher growth percentage on the next run up. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at right here. Now I do want to kind of draw a couple more lines now that we have some better, I guess, history. Here we go. Delete that one. So now we just have our zones, and then these are going to be based off of, let me make this smaller. These are going to be based off these tops and bottoms right here is kind of where I drew these from. Now I will say, kind of maybe start one right here. This was, our low right here, and this is another low. We'll kind of draw it through here. If we notice, does kind of go right here. It's not perfect, but you get the picture. Again, we had these triangles. I know I took them off, but we had 2 triangles here, and so if we do if we do break into here, we can definitely see an uptrend into these triangles. And then let's go ahead and delete one of these. No, I want the other one. Delete that one. There we go. I don't know why I had 2. There we go. Okay, now we're back to it. Oh, wait, no. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so this is where I can see us coming off the next couple days into next week. Looks like we're going to have a pivotal point right here, but I do think the end of March is going to be whenever we finally finish this triangle, and we're either going to see an explosion up or to the downside. Now, obviously, we do want it to be to the upside, but I'm just looking at the chart and what I'm seeing at the moment. A lot of craziness in the market is really kind of what I'm seeing. Like today was nice because we consolidated, but these moves have been so volatile, it's hard to really even get a clear picture of everything that's happening. But nonetheless, we try to play it as we see it, and I definitely like to keep you guys updated in these videos. Let's see right here. We had it would be nice. Sorry, allergies have been killing me today. We could see a double bottom, so we definitely could see it come back down to the $78 mark. We could see a double bottom right around here, and that would shoot us up through the 80s. That could be another potential. But right now, I think these are going to be our top 3. Now, what does this mean? So if we can get to this point right here on the upside of this 83, and I want you to hold me to this because this is how I see it. And so far, if you've been a follower of the channel, to all my 64, 65 subscribers, thank you. We are only 35 subscribers away from the giveaway. So compared to where we started, I think we started at, I want to say we were at like 30 something when we started that. So definitely, positive news. I appreciate every single one of you, but I like to be held to my word. And so far we've been pretty right most of the time. I would say about 80%. Everything's kind of played out the way we as a community. I couldn't do this without y'all, so I am saying we. But if I see us play out on the top side of this, then I do think we're going to be more coming. We're going to ride this wave up unless something crazy happens, something violent happens. But if we're just talking basic, chart drawing, statistics, I would like to see us be on the top side of this, and we could ride. It would be, we may like hit this and then come up here, but then we're going to drop down below and then test again, so like you could see like a big up, or we could hit here, go up, go down below, and then kind of come into this. So it's not going to be perfectly in this, but what I think might be bad news is if we go to the downside of this and we break in here and then we end up writing this down. Now again, if we break down from here, we could come up, we could go below, but if we keep writing this down, then I do think that's going to be, that's going to bring us back down to the low 70s. And then we may ride in here, but I think right here is going to be our best bet. Trying to stay above. Now we have rejected it a total of 4 times or 6 throughout 16 hours, because these are, as you guys know, the big boy candles. These are 4-hour candles. So we have been rejecting it pretty nicely throughout the past day, and so that's always positive news. But yeah, guys, that's kind of what I have for you today. This is kind of what I'm looking for. Again, not a financial advisor, of course, right? But I am not buying right now. I am just kind of on the sidelines. If I find a deal for 90% silver, I'm all over it. All over that 90%. If I find a good deal right now, because right now you can pretty much get it below spot. And so you can probably get it for around $80 to $78 per ounce, which 90% goes by face value. So if silver is at $83 and you can get it for $80, per face, you're paying about $57 per face value. So 4 quarters, 2 halves, 10 dimes, or if we're doing war nickels, that's a whole different story. That's 90%, that's 35%. So we're not talking about that right now, but I think 90% could be, again, if you're in it for the long term, I think this could be a nice buying opportunity. But am I going out and buying a tube right now? No. I would honestly rather buy a tube when it's around the 89, 90s and we're getting some confirmation to the upside. But right now it could go either way. I mean, it's been swinging just because we had a higher high and a higher low. All right, those are 2 bullish signals. Like if we come back over here, we had this high and this was the low down here. Over here, this is the higher high, and a higher low. That's typically a bullish signal. Right here, this zone that we were hovering in, we bounced off of it this time instead of entering it and consolidating. So the fact that we're consolidating in a zone or 2 above it is very bullish news. But again, silver's been very volatile, so I am going to be waiting until about March 9th, maybe the 13th. There's a coin show over here in Houston, the 13th and 14th that I will be attending. So if you guys are going to be there, let me know. But we can maybe have a little meetup with all my little 65 subscribers. I think it's 64 right now. Someone unsubscribed or they got unsubscribed, one of the two. But it is what it is, part of the business. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as always, stack smart, stack safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.